Elon Musk doesn't get a paycheck. Mark Zuckerberg's salary is $1 a year. Jeff Bezos took home $81,840 in 2020, and yet somehow they're buying mansions, yachts, and occasionally entire social media platforms. Here's the part that doesn't make sense. Their wealth is tied up in stock: Tesla shares, Meta shares, Amazon shares. To spend money, you'd think they'd have to sell those shares, pay capital gains tax, and watch their ownership dilute. But they don't. They've found a loophole so elegant, so perfectly legal, that it's become the financial architecture of the ultra-wealthy. It's called buy, borrow, die. And once you see how it works, you can't unsee it. Let's start with the problem billionaires face. Say you're worth $10 billion on paper. That money isn't sitting in a checking account. It's locked inside shares of your company, growing 7, maybe 10% a year. If you sell a chunk to buy a house, you trigger capital gains tax. 20% to the government, gone. Your ownership drops. Your control weakens. Shareholders start asking questions. So instead, you borrow. Here's the move. You walk into a private bank, not the kind with tellers and ATMs, and you pledge your stock as collateral. The bank looks at your $10 billion in shares and says, "We'll lend you $500 million at 2% interest. No taxes, no sale. You still own everything. The shares keep growing. You spend the cash." This is called a securities-backed line of credit, and the interest rate is absurdly low because to the bank, this is the safest bet in the world. If you default, they seize your shares, but you won't default because you're a billionaire with assets that compound faster than the loan costs. Now here's where it gets strange. You take that borrowed money and spend it. Houses, jets, art, investments, whatever. You're living like you're worth $10 billion, because you are. But on paper, you have no income, which means, in a tax sense, you're broke. You might even qualify for tax deductions. Meanwhile, your shares keep growing. That $10 billion becomes $12 billion, then $15. The loan? Still $500 million. You're not paying it down. You're just paying the interest, which is tax deductible if the borrowed money funds more investments. The debt becomes a rounding error compared to your wealth. And when you need more cash, you borrow again against the new higher valuation. The cycle repeats. You never sell. You never trigger a tax event. You just borrow, spend, and let your assets grow faster than your debt. Then you die. Here's the final trick, the one that makes the whole system untouchable. When you pass away, your heirs inherit your shares, but they don't inherit your cost basis. Under current U.S. tax law, there's something called a step-up in basis. The government resets the value of your assets to whatever they're worth on the day you die. So, if you bought Tesla stock at $5 and it's worth $800 when you die, your kids inherit it at $800. No taxes on that $795 gain. It vanishes. They can sell the shares the next day, pay off your loan with a tiny sliver of the portfolio, and pocket the rest tax-free. Buy, borrow, die. The wealth passes down, the taxes never come. The numbers are staggering. In 2021, ProPublica analyzed tax records and found that the 25 richest Americans paid a true tax rate of just 3.4%. Not because they cheated, because they never sold. They borrowed instead. This isn't a glitch. It's the system working exactly as designed. And it's completely disconnected from how normal people build wealth. You get taxed when you earn, they get liquidity when they pledge. The question isn't whether this is legal, it is. The question is whether a society can function when its wealthiest members live in a parallel financial universe, one where income is optional and taxes are negotiable. Because right now, that's not a loophole, that's the blueprint.